Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about. I don't know why I laugh sometimes. I look at myself here and then also there, and I know I look a bit ridiculous, so I end up laughing at my. Welcome back for stuff. Very big thank you to to everyone who leaves a like on the video. It is very much appreciated. Very big thank you to everyone who leaves a comment as well. It helps out with the algorithm. It looks like a lot of promises might be finally happening. Ethereum since 2016, that was 114 years ago, has announced that apparently the big shebang upgrade is finally happening. For those of you who do not know, back in good old 2016, Ethereum by 2017, was supposed to have had 1,000 to 10,000 transactions per second. It was supposed to have been the fastest blockchain. This is well before ICOs and all the other things that were clogging the network. The general idea is that by the time we got to 2020, we'd have 100,000 transactions per second. Oh my gosh, can't believe it. And then by the time we got to 2025, we'd have roughly 1 million transactions per second. Of course, things have dramatically changed. One of the other ideas now is that we are apparently going to get to 100,000 transactions per second. But a lot of it is going to be reliant on other layers as well. So this much will happen on Ethereum, but this many will also happen on about 10, 15 other chains as well that make up the Ethereum ecosystem. Throughout 2025, we have been absolutely bombarded with news and information about companies buying Ethereum, governments apparently also doing the same, central banks buying large amounts of Ether. Have you remembered why it goes into 2026? It's supposed to be stablecoin, central bank digital currency mania. Around summer 2025, we heard from Novograts, Jim Lee, Ninja Turtles, and everyone else out there that apparently in 2026, when these governments begin to launch their central bank digital currencies, apparently a large amount of them are going to be on Ethereum. But there's a problem. Remember about 4 years ago, there was and I have to use the same thing over again because it's the most dramatic of all of them. In 2020, 2021, Ethereum had an issue. It was becoming popular, but it wasn't getting any quicker. Got it. The other major issue was so many transactions were happening at what is this? At a rapid pace on the Ethereum network that basically transaction fees went from like 15 cents to $7 to $50 per transaction. It was terrible. I was waking up early in the morning, and this isn't a joke, to try and like literally beat the rush because the more people who were actually using the network, the more clogged it got. So you had to do it when everyone else was basically asleep. This isn't a joke. A lot of people were doing this. It reached a terrible fever pitch when the Bored Ape Yacht Club, land masses or something, whatever they were being released. And in order to mint one, you had to do something on the website and then pay a transaction fee. Any of you remember this? People were recorded as having paid $700 for a transaction per transaction. you were able to, apparently the legend goes, keep clicking to try and like better your chance in the queue. Try and get further and further to the front of the line. Some people then were clicking so much, and so much was happening on Ethereum, that people were paying 1,000. This is real. This is not a fake number. $1,200 for a transaction fee. The idea is that the land back then, I think, was worth like 150K. Some of them were more special and it could have potentially been worth $500,000. So people were like, I'll pay $15,000 to try and get $500,000. Right. It didn't work out too well. So we have more or less been promised for almost a decade now that Ethereum is going to get there. The real problem, even more than on top of the $1,200 transaction fees, comes from they're kind of out of time. If all these banks and all these governments and all these institutions, we also know, if you missed it, Facebook is trying to create another stable coin. We're getting rumors about Amazon and Uber, you name it. And a lot of them are apparently looking at Ether, so we've been told. If you can't handle people minting a piece of land on your platform without going to 1,200 for a transaction fee, how the heck are 5, nonetheless 30 central banks going to launch their coins onto your chain and then essentially, have hundreds of thousands of transactions every minute, every hour of every single day? The upgrade called Fusaka. Fusaka's upgrade for Ethereum was planned around mid-2026. Wouldn't you know it, trillions of dollars have sped up that date dramatically. The number that we are now getting is for the 3rd of December. The 3rd of December will apparently be the official launch date for Ethereum's next major upgrade. It was had of the so-and-so, blah, 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 that's going to happen, and Fusaka brings, apparently, there's going to be 12 upgrades inside of one package, focused on making Ethereum faster and cheaper to use. The centerpiece feature is called Peer DAS, Peer Data Availability Sampling, which lets network validators check transaction data more efficiently. And then they talk about the other things. Doubling the size of smart contracts, giving developers more so-and-so. This will raise the standards an enormous amount of. Awesome. Fantastic. Can't wait. Because basically, as I've been saying, first of all, I'm not a developer, but this is just pure logic for the, it keeps going on that face, for the sake of logic. Ethereum is now the most used blockchain on the planet, and that's with like this many transactions per second. Ethereum is no longer the only altcoin in the space, and something literally has to be done to make sure that they remain in the position that they're currently in. I told many people before years ago, and people got kind of upset, all these chains can more or less do the exact same thing. The only reason why Ethereum is where it is because of funding and people behind the scenes. But we also have a multitude of other chains that could also technically take Ethereum's spot. If your chain has been chosen, this is why we're seeing like the 7-month push forward. If your chain has been chosen by governments, you can't really dilly-dally. You can't sit there and go, okay, no, next summer, you don't want to run. No. This is it. The stuff we were hearing about all those years ago, all the attention, all the money, all the, so-and-so being paid to crypto and, people looking in its direction. We are at the point where I'll give you a firm answer. If 4-year cycles are over, as we keep hearing, and Bitcoin does indeed continue moving up in price to infinitum, other coins are also people are going to start paying more attention to other chains. You can't sit there and say your chain is slow. Your chain doesn't do a certain function. Your chain doesn't stake. Your chain doesn't make passive income. Your chain doesn't have a yield. Your chain isn't fast. Your chain isn't being used by companies or governments. Those days are long gone. If the 4-year cycles are over, realistically, in a year, your chain needs to be top notch. You need to be used by governments and institutions already. There's no more. Long gone are the days of creating a chain and going, it's fast. That one's better than Bitcoin because it has the number 2 behind it. Yeah, no, that was 2015, 16, 17, 18. That doesn't exist anymore. Your chain has to be top notch. So, very soon. Remember, we were hearing a lot. We've been hearing a lot of hubbubaloo about Ethereum going to 12,000 and 15,000. And if you missed those other videos, to $100,000. Can you believe it? Yeah. No, $100,000 are the predictions for the next couple of years for Ethereum. It is resting heavily on Ethereum being able to deal with all of the transactions from all the banks that we've heard about. Remember all these companies buying 60 million worth of Ether? That company has 3.3 million Ether. Yeah, it's resting on the back of the idea that this upgrade will happen, and then these banks will start using Ethereum. We're very close. We're not that far away. A lot of the coins are going to be chosen. Pay attention because, if you want to be completely honest here, you've noticed that like certain coins keep making the news over and over and over and over again, right? Yeah, those are probably the coins that you should maybe potentially be paying attention to. Let's see what happens. We've heard a lot of hype the last few years about Ethereum upgrades. This is meant to be like the big one. No word, unless you can tell me on exactly how many transactions per second. Many websites they keep saying like batched transactions. So within one transaction, this many transactions can be there, but that's not enough for me. And probably not for institutions either. We need to hear a number. So all I want to know, is Ethereum going to be capable of doing 1,500? Will it be 5,000 transactions per second? Are we looking at a 50,000? Potentially somewhere there as well, because other chains can already do 2, 3, 4, 5,000 transactions per second. Down to the wire. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Is that my shadow in the back? That is my shadow. I thought that was the microphone. Huh. I learned something new. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking. It is my shadow. Liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.